It's another episode of The Verdict, and this time around, Shimmy and Skalk has joined me as well. It's been another historic week in the sporting world with lots of records tumbling. The Pumas beat Scotland at Maryfield for the first time in 16 years. England beat All Blacks for the first time in over 6 years and the first time at Twickenham since 2012. Wales won their first match at home in over 2.5 years. And the Proteas won their first test in India in 15 years. Incredible performance from our Proteas cricket team. And yet the only consistent occurrence from last week is that the Boks win again. This time with 13 men at times. The big question for us is, will the Springboks only select 12 players this week against Ireland, because that is the trend currently. What was meant to be a weekend where we celebrate the beauty of rugby and the amazing skill set that international players have, no, that has not been the trend. The trend has been incompetence. Has been the word that's been used a lot in terms of the officiating, and it has frustrated the world of rugby, not just South Africans. And yet, the deafening silence from World Rugby. A moment of silence, maybe, for rugby. Welcome, guys.
John, what an intro.
What an intro, boy.
What an intro.
Gee whiz,
But
that's a great intro.
I mean, it's spot on. I mean, we should be going, how amazing has this weekend's rugby been? Not even mentioning the Proteas. How amazing was that?
Incredible.
How was that wicket, though?
Incredible.
That wicket was something else. Like, that was terrible. But anyway.
Let's quickly talk about it before we get, because I mean this can be a very somber episode. Okay, with what we.
Well done to Wales.
No, let's talk about the Proteas quickly.
Okay,
just some Temba Bavuma's batting, Harmer, Corbin Bosch, Marco Jansen, like everybody chipping in.
High score in 4 innings, 55, not out, Temba Bavuma. And I mean, look at the two batting lineups. There's some class players, but like on day one, for that wicket to go through the top, spit and bounce, and for us to outplay India in a wicket that they prepped, like a bad wicket to frustrate South Africa, roll them over with their spin attack, and we come out on top, bowl them out for 92 in the fourth digs. Unbelievable.
Keshav Maharaj, that last over, 16 for 2.
16 for 2. How crazy was that?
Happy for Harmer. Last time I saw him was at the Wolfpack.
Yeah.
And he was just about to go to India before the Japan game. Little did he know this was going to happen. So a great Sunday morning, I must say. How nice is it to watch it on a Sunday morning?
8 for 50 in the test match, I think, Simon Harmer.
It did kind of lessen the blow a bit, and I talk about the blow because of watching the Springbok game and just how that unravelled. And again, this will probably go down as one of the best performances from the Springboks, not because of the result and not because of the score, but because of the kind of the adversity that they faced throughout the game, a young team, and still being able to get through it.
Yeah, context is important. You look at the selection, a rainy day in Turin, red card early on, the changes that needed to be made. Could have gone pear-shaped. Imagine Garbisi also had sunk those kicks. Then it's a different looking game, 1 or 2 tries there, it's the rain, you try having a go, the ball slips. So context is important when you analyze this game, and thank goodness the Springboks made it through. But the terrible thing about it is that the refs are trending. It's the officials, it's the chat around reffing and officiating rather than the actual game itself. Luckily, Scotland against Argentina, actually there's a bit of redemption in terms of the quality of the game, that second half.
The second half.
Yeah, and that's what you want, Scala. That's what rugby is about. Unfortunately, the refs are trending for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, and it we as South Africans, we play the victim a lot, but it does feel as if there's almost a campaign against us. And it's not just us saying it, or saying that there's incompetence from a officiating point of view. It's all around the world. You see coaches, commentators, writers, media, and more importantly, the fan just not knowing what's going on.
Oh, we don't know what's going on. The more and more we look at the Franco Mostert incident, that's obviously the highlight for the weekend, the more you think that's not even a penalty, and this is only the start. Now the judiciary process starts, where he's going to have an entry level for foul play of 16 weeks. And then they've got to charge it down How far can they mitigate it? Loer de Jager got 4 weeks for something pretty much similar. Perfect tackle technique, knee on the ground, arms there to wrap. You always wrap late. You hit him with the shoulder first. So, I mean, I always say, what sanction's enough?
Yeah.
And you can't see World Rugby rescinding the red card.
Yeah.
That's admitting mistake. And also, like, where I want to get to is, like, when did we get rid of the bunker? Where does the on-field referees, when did that directive come out to say, we're in charge of foul play, looking at a big screen that's 75 meters away? Why don't send it to the bunker if there's any doubt? Because quite clearly, in both instances, Loert and Franco, there is a lot of doubt.
Yeah.
Then you've got 8 minutes in the bunker to make a decision. Rightly or wrongly, it buys you time to take the emotion out of it, make the correct decision, verify, is there head contact, is there tuck shoulder, bring in the variables. But like what we're seeing at the moment, and it's trending, and that's the frustrating part, is it's bloody brutal. And you're like, we talk about the young team selecting. You know, a spare of thought for the youngsters playing on the weekend.
Players,
They didn't get a chance. You know, Ben Jason Dixon after 10 minutes has to have a permanent substitution because of the red card.
Yeah.
Zachary Porthen, same.
Juan Venter, same.
Juan Venter.
The ripple effect of the guy going off. Before we get to that, one comment, Shimmy. This week was probably worse than last week's decision.
Yeah.
Okay? With Loer de Jager. So bad, in fact, that could this be the worst decision ever made in the 202 years of rugby history?
Ronan O'Gara scored a quick tap when Paul Honer said, John, Barney, quickly just get your team together in a little circle.
But it's bad.
No,
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. And what happens is then people watch Australia against Ireland, and the same tackles, it's the same game, the same rules, but ref completely differently. Yeah. You know, and that's what, so people start comparing, and then, you know, there's that compound effect. Now, all of a sudden, you know, you look at the Springboks, we turn around and say it's unfair against us, but then you go back further games. You look at Eden Park, for example. I mean, we spoke about the reffing there. It's just too many, it's happening too often.
Yeah.
John, it's becoming an ongoing problem. And the reality is you want to talk about the game and not the officiating. And then you talk about World Rugby. Who are these faceless people that never say anything?
Yeah.
Nothing's ever said. There's no one. Who are the go-to people that put up their hand and say, look, this is what we look at it. Let's go out in the media. Let's try and do something. But it's just quiet.
Because also, Shimi, and I think this is an extremely important and serious point, is that the reason for the changes in the game is almost a little bit reactive in terms of what has happened in rugby historically, and maybe the effect that has had on players that has retired. Okay, so just park that for a while, and that is serious. You know, we
Talk
want
about the concussions.
Yes,
and everything.
we want to make the game as safe as possible. We want to make sure that people can retire from the game like ourselves and be in good health, still having enjoyed playing rugby, a contact sport. And unfortunately, rugby will remain a contact sport forever. So the new laws came in to say
safety.
For safety.
Into
And
Scrum
how do we
laws,
change the behavior of the tackler?
Yeah.
Mostly the tackler. Now you go and you just take the two examples of Loer de Jager and Franco Mostert, and you answer that question. Is there a change in behavior from those two guys? Could they have done anything differently?
No.
Absolutely not. I mean, there's a change in height, they're in the perfect tackling position, and they get done in for it. And in the clips we see now, there is one example where there's no change in height, player behavior.
Let's actually, we'll get... Will we start off with the clips?
Let's start with the clips.
So, continue.
For me, like, there's always going to be rugby accidents, and there's always going to be, it's a contact sport. I mean, for us, we want to have big hits as South Africans, as the Springboks. But if you're slow and you go through this is absolutely perfect tackle technique. They say that's a shoulder charge. There's absolutely no chance. Both arms are out. And I think the important point is none of us has ever tackled like that.
No. You have to lead with the shoulder and then the arm.
There's a clear
shoulder and then wrap.
Clear drop in height. And the more I look at it, the more for me, it's not even a penalty. Look where he hits him. So he hits him on the chest, then the shoulder. That arm's busy wrapping. You can't put it out because Ethan Hooker's already made the tackle. You're adjusting the fender. He hits him on the sponsor's badge. And when they go, all right, and this is where the issue comes, when they start fabricating, saying there's clear head contact, there's a clear shoulder charge, now it's foul play. So now no mitigation can take place. Once they determine the fact that it's a tucked shoulder and his head contact, they want to go straight red. And that's why I say, why don't they use the bunker for that?
Yeah. And you see Franco there already. He kind of knows where it's going. And also, Shami, and maybe comment on that. You saw Paulo Garbisi get up immediately and continue playing. You know, so also the whole thing about the safety head, you know, all of that.
Same as Thomas
Ramos last week, you know. So there wasn't any, and you can, I suppose you can't only sanction someone or penalise someone if the other guy was hurt, but like. You know, he played on immediately.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You also, if I'm the tackler and you the ball carrier, Jean, you can step left, right, go over me. You can dip late. Now, if I'm in a perfect position and you dip, and all of a sudden there's head contact, as a tackler, what can you do? You can't make that split second. It's physically impossible. Now, what's happening is the laws have been made in a boardroom, but the reality is outside on the field, it's a different picture.
Yeah.
Now, exactly. You go back to the question: if Franco was upright. And he's got a choice to dip his hips. So Alert also has got a choice to dip his hip. They did exactly that.
Yeah.
They're in the right perfect tackle position. If he sticks his hand out, his shoulder pops out. So obviously he's got to hit and then wrap.
Yeah.
So from a technical point of view, there's nothing else he could have done better. What happens now? Red card straight off, and he might get suspended. We don't know how long. Is that really fair? You ask the question. Is it an element of fairness?
And also
tackle school's not going to improve him because he did everything technically.
No, he can't do anything.
You can't get better at tackle school.
So the thing for me is like, you know, what do you do? So do you? There will be rugby because it's a context. There will be times when there's contact to the head.
Yeah.
That is unfortunately a given. You can't take that out of the game because if you take that out of the game, then it becomes touch rugby. You know, and you can't convert to that. So, you know, are we? And I suppose that's what I'm getting to is that are we putting these things in place now to kind of go historically back and say, okay, we just want to make sure that we are doing things now to hopefully protect us for anything that might come from a legal point of view from what happened historically.
I don't know why they're doing it, but like the main reason why I pitch up and I watch rugby, physicality plays almost the most important role. I mean, we are there for the big carry, the big hit. Obviously, the try is, you know, the thing we talk about. But why people go watch rugby is because of that constant action. You know, otherwise we might as well play football with an oval ball.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't touch a ball carrier.
Yeah.
Physicality is at the core of our game, and everything's got to be a fair contest. At the moment, for the tackler at least, it's not a fair contest. So even ball carriers, they can do whatever they want. You know,
You touch his head,
tuck your head, carry with your head below your hips. Where's your target?
And that is coming as well. That's already being trialled at amateur level in some places. Will I continue just with it?
Yeah, and what's going to happen now? The TMO, if you get a overexcited TMO, now he's forensically looking at everything.
Yeah.
Or in this game, you get a one-sided TMO.
Yeah, a one-sided TMO that's looking at one side. So all of a sudden now, forensically looking at everything. It stop-start. No one wants to watch that.
Yeah.
Now, surely then common sense has got to prevail somewhere along the line. Say, look, there's nothing in it. It's a little bit of contact, fine, on the head, but let's move on. Let's play on. And the forensically, so it's stop. If you got someone watching in the stadium, you actually don't know what's going on half the time.
Because also, I mean, now, you know, you talk about player behavior. Look at Scrum Cap blue. Okay? Yes, he gets grazed there.
Yeah.
Okay? And again, like we said, this will happen. But what happens now is that post that, he's dead.
Yeah.
You know, he's
Animation,
on the
football.
ground. It becomes football. You know, and
We saw that with
we
the charge down the one time.
Yes, we don't want that.
And, you know, like, the biggest thing is, Garbisi, no HI. It doesn't trigger the mouth guard. He doesn't go off. He takes the conversion straight off the back of that. Sia goes to the referee and saying, listen, that's a one-sided TMO plenty of times in that game. then he draws up Wilkulo's clean. Where's Wilkulo supposed to clean there?
Yeah.
So he's a second arrival. He's down. He's got his arms out nice and wide. He doesn't even look at it. He slides in low because that's where the space is. If you're going to pick up that type of incident, every single ruck should be a TMO review. Every single ruck.
Yeah.
Where
there's
me and
150
Shimmy has
of
grazed
them.
each other, or my shoulders touched your chin.
This yellow card, fair.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's,
that was fair,
I think
yeah.
it's
Pretty straightforward.
I think-
Obviously not foul play, but yellow card.
What he should have done there is as soon as gone for it once and then just rolled out through the side, we would have been fine.
Also, the ref's looking for triggers. I don't think his entry is quite correct.
No,
It's-
yeah.
He's chasing.
Kinda
He's
sideways.
chasing it like it doesn't land at his feet.
It's always difficult from a line break.
Always difficult. And then also, to make matters worse, he goes past the ball and then lands on his head. Cause also you understand why he ended up there. That player was still moving by the time he hits his shins. You topple over. And that's just a bit of game awareness. But at this time, that was frustration from Marco van Staden for not. This game was hell of a frustrating for us to watch. But imagine being on the field, just chasing the breakdown.
You always on watch, though. That's also another frustration when the ref's just talking to you the whole time. And that's what you saw to Sia, who's usually very good with the refs.
Yeah, he
All of a
was
sudden, it's like,
frustrated.
hold on, watch both sides, not just us the whole time. And that came from the TMO also, where he just keeps on going, watching the one side, and hence the frustration.
Yeah.
You talk about one side, then eventually this happened. We were down to 13, head contact. And again, guys, yes, I want to harp on that because there's no bend. Look at Blue 8.
Yeah.
No bend at the hips, no good tackle technique, no... that exact tackle, what we see there, is what they don't want.
Yeah.
That is exactly what they tried to get out of the game.
Agree.
Okay? Now we see that in the game.
Level change needed.
Yeah, and what is this? Surely, because this is what they want out there, surely this is a permanent red card then. If this is what they want out the game.
If we've been fair, then that's off. He's gone.
No, but this is where, the rugby fan, we in the game, we can't understand it.
Yeah.
Imagine the rugby fan. That's a high tackle, head contact, no change in behavior, no dip. Now, look, I don't want that to be a red card.
No,
but
agreed.
unfortunately, at the moment, how the hell is Franco Mostert's tackle, which is perfect technique, a permanent red for foul play? Okay, and that is just a yellow card for head contact, upright, fine, accident. It's not an accident.
What do we do? How do you change it? What needs to happen?
But what I need to understand is where's the accountability?
Yes.
From the, players
The
are
governing
accountable.
body.
Yeah, from the government, players are accountable. So Franco might get suspended. If they rescind it, we'll be surprised. Well done, they're actually admitting to a mistake. But where's the level of accountability?
Yeah.
From this, and that's what worries me because it could happen again this weekend. Hopefully it doesn't, but it could happen again this weekend. Low accountability, low standards, and that's exactly.
So the
what
referee
happens.
blows the next game.
Yeah.
In whether he's a referee or he's AR or he's a television match official.
But also, Scala, the question needs to be, okay, are they just following instructions as well, the referees?
But for me, where do they come out and say this is wrong?
Yeah.
Because there's got to be accountability. If a player does blatant foul play, he's going to come out and say, sorry, I got it wrong. We don't know what the outcome of this is. Ludiaga got a month. Perfect tackle technique. Hits Ramos, adjusting tackler, his knees on the ground, Lewitt's knees on the ground. The player doesn't get hurt.
Yeah.
He doesn't go for a head injury assessment, nothing. Lewitt gets not only a red card, loss of income, and a month.
A month.
The same match officials was involved in the following week without an explanation.
Yeah.
Mute, which allows social media, everyone to get on the bandwagon and like, hold on.
Yeah.
But what is the
going on
solution
here?
here? How does it work?
We would like to know. We would like to know who takes accountability. Please, if you are watching and you do know, please send this to whomever is responsible for that. And we'd be open to a reply, even maybe get you on the show, just to explain to us. We want to be transparent. We want to understand. We want to make this beautiful game of ours as beautiful as possible. So accountability is important. We also made some bets on the weekend.
Oof, I can't even
That
remember.
messed up my bet.
Yeah. What did I get? 25.
Okay, before we get into further analysis,
Plus.
our predictions. Shimmy
wrong.
was after a 31-point win or more for the Boks. Failed. Scala was
Yeah.
after a 23-point win or more. Failed.
How close? What this morning?
I
It's Marnie's
was
fault.
after a 60 or more total points.
Failed.
Failed. We'll have a break and then we'll start with the analysis.
Cody from Paul has sold multiple vehicles to We Buy Cars. Suspicious? I think so.
Is that a crime?
No. Where are you getting the cars?
I buy them and I sell them at the spot like a normal person.
Okay.
No, man, I'm just an accounting student. I know a good deal when I see one.
That's Excel. Meant. What's more stressful, tax season or selling a car at We Buy Cars?
Tax season, obviously.
We Buy Cars, the easiest way to sell your car by far.
Okay, gents, let's forget about the officiating. Let's forget about the cards. Taking into account that we played the vast majority of the game with one man less and at a stage
Again.
with two.
Say again.
Last week we played with 14. This week we played with 13. Will we play with 12 next week? Let's see. And what about we take away the scrum and we just call it rugby league?
Yeah.
Who knows? What was important this week, the kicking game, as always, every single week. We're one short, and what I want to show here is, one, how good we are in the air. So many guys that compete, and also Damian Willemse, his positional play this weekend was phenomenal, and his work rate.
I mean, just look at the back line we selected on the weekend. So 100 pilots at 10. But imagine if you put Sasha Feinberg and Gumazulu in that position. Caden Moody, he's got the ability to turn in the air, so he can't even knock it on. That's how
Sean,
good
let's
he
just,
is.
Scarlett, it's important there what you mean. Just have a look at that technique. You're right about it. The ability to turn. He's not going back trying to slap it back. He actually turns his back towards the opposition. Look at this.
That's
But also the kick is so good though.
Yeah.
The kick is spot on. But to my previous point, so Caden Moody, Ethan Hooker, both 6'3", Kirtley, Aronson, Cheslin, and Damian Willemse. I mean, every aerial contest is going to go your way. They're exceptional in the air.
So that's the one. You know, again, the difference between competing in the air and actually getting the ball back, it becomes a defensive play, becomes an attacking play. Obviously, at the breakdown there, we lost it. But there's a nice slow-mo of Kane.
But Pollard's also giving them something to chase.
Yeah.
That's the most. We also look at we always look at the aerial battle, but the kick. If that thing's too far, you're out the battle. We're actually creating the battle by the accuracy of our kicks.
Italy kicked quite early in the set a lot of the times. This one they are competing at least. Damian, not a clean take there. They were still able to put us under pressure as well, and this will be a key factor this weekend against Ireland.
So they try to manipulate our backfield quite early on in the set. Maybe one phase or straight off the back of it through Garbisi's boot. But Damian's positional play, and we'll see it time and time again, was exceptional. I mean, there's a breakdown penalty, but how competitive are Italy at the breakdown? I mean, Zuliani is a proper open side flanker. But our kicking game was dominant, and it has been this entire year. How dominant we were is exceptional.
This one again, Damian's ability to read the play and just have a feel for it, to know where the ball will be going. There is in the outside channel, the kick through, he's there immediately. Work rate all the time.
Always beats the first defender. But the thing with the rush defense is we've seen it a couple of times.
Yeah.
Rush up, you put little kicks through, then you try to keep them a bit more honest. But the ability for him to almost stand almost half a step back, to see, read the play, to anticipate and pull those triggers and cover the spaces for
The thing is, you can so easily be exposed.
Through a good kicking.
So for him, the easier option there is to try and close early or look for the cross kick. But the fact that he watches Garbisi's kicking, but also his body language.
Yeah.
If Garbisi's kicking it to him, he's turning side on and he's kicking it there. By the mere fact that he runs a little bit straighter, square on, his body language shows Damon that he's going to kick it straighter. And that gives him the jump. That's why he can cover so quickly.
Yeah.
Warner van den Berg as a 9, more inexperienced 9 at test level. A big test for him this weekend, but he did so well again. So kicking game. Capuozzo with the break.
He's rapid.
But who's there? Damian Willemse again.
No, he's fully deserved man of the match. There was no one else there that you could have said.
And it's
by far the best player.
And
on the
that's
field.
that's like a sixth sense, right? That he knows where the game's going or where the possible kick's going to be. And this weekend, his positional play was off the charts. But also, that comes with work rate. And this is where we know he's special. This little corkscrew, and gets us straight on the front foot, over the gain line. His close contact skills, he must be the best in the world at it.
It's the agility and the balance,
Yeah.
the feet, especially off the mark, and then acceleration also. But also when he's caught sometimes, I think we've seen him a couple of times, even try to get that offload away where he actually he can go over the top and actually just play to a guy that's running onto it.
And also what you don't really notice is he's a big body.
No, so he's
Damian
difficult
Willemse.
to bring down. His work rate in the tackle, his tackle fight is so good. But I mean, this is the difference between, you know, having a more defensive play on the halfway line versus being on the attack 10 meters inside of the
You
opposition.
can run onto that. But isn't that the secret? The best fullbacks, especially on counter-attack, you just got to beat one man, John. Then that ruck makes it a lot easier. If you get tackled backwards, all of a sudden there's a counter ruck and you're in trouble.
Kane Moody
Turns
again.
us back again.
And how does he get up and turn? You know, it's almost like he's walking on air.
He floats nicely in there.
And we're not even getting to his little goose step on liner later on. But like, this is the biggest point of difference for the Boks. And I guess why the 14-man, we can return to that kicking game and put sides under so much pressure.
So
Just
again,
check-
Damian.
Just take Damon. He was on the deck. They put a kick on kick, which is almost impossible. And who's back there again?
So he competes for the first kick on the ground. 2
Gets up,
seconds
goes
later, he's
back.
the same guy in the backfield. And it's so
His
easy.
off the ball work is amazing.
Yeah, and it's so, I mean, if he wasn't there, ball goes out, we wouldn't have said, oh, where's Damian?
Yeah.
You know, I think that is the difference. Same like Cheslin with that charge down,
Yeah.
you know. It's not like, these are things that they do and that they actually do stat now. Your off-the-ball work is, you know, I think that's where we are just so much better than anyone else in the world currently.
Shimmy, this is for you.
Not yet the scrum.
Not yet.
Yeah,
Oof,
so we'll get
sorry.
into
This is
it
when it was fair.
Sorry.
again.
Again, Willemse got it.
Yeah. We'll get into the detail of the scrums.
Yeah, it's interesting looking at the Italian, because Gonzalo is a very good coach.
Yeah.
The tactics is basically, listen here, don't take on the rush defense. It's wet and slippery. Look for the kick early. Let's win the territory first. But if you've got a fullback that's covering ground like that, then you're turning around saying, listen, you're not finding grass. You're not getting any return from your kicking plays. And the forwards love it. He's getting the ball.
Yeah.
He's stepping someone. You're getting forward. You're actually transferring pressure. So it looks like he's just covering ground. But actually, in terms of the game plan, he's actually disrupting the Italians quite a bit.
I think their plan was a good plan against
Yeah, it was a smart plan.
You remove the rush, and also where you attack is
And they came down the blind.
yeah, so you hit middle, go down the blind, but also against the rush, similar to what Ireland will test us on the weekend, is inside balls or little plays next into the ruck where the rush is nullified.
Yeah, if you do kick behind the defense all the time, from a rush point of view, you do just sit on your heels a little bit more than just having a go immediately. So our kicking game and our ability to cover the backfield, brilliant on the weekend, and that will be critical against Ireland. Ireland, they were pretty good on the weekend with their kicking game as well. Can we get into the head of Russ in terms of the substitutions?
So the front row is Zach coming
So
off.
that's 19 minutes in. Franco's already off.
He wanted, because a man down in the scrum. So what happens with Wilco? He's the strongest scrum, probably the strongest tight head in World Rugby. You want him on, so then it can free up. You don't have to put an extra number in the scrum.
Ben
You number
Jason
it up
Dixon's already off at this stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here to go.
Yeah, so it was to stabilize the scrum and possibly with a man down,
Yeah.
get scrum penalties.
It's almost, I see that you know, when you close your eyes, you see Ruan or Kia running on, like second week. The fixer. The fixer. Okay, there you go. Let me go do the line-outs again.
Shimmy, here we go.
Yeah, see, and Wilco, he just gets turned in, but the angle, is it Fischetti, the Italian prop, he's scrumming in there. Look, obviously, what the Boks can do from a Springbok side point of view, you're a man down, so your 8 is so important in terms of generating speed over the mark. If you look at that, it's quite a passive engagement. So Wilco is good when he squares up and he's got that loose head on his outside and he hits. As soon as he hits it, he almost turns in slightly, then Fischetti just turns his angle and goes straight in. So it's almost impossible. So
Because 4 minutes later, Buan Fenter off as well.
So for me, the only real reason is, like, we wanted to defend with obviously 7 and scrums, and then our ball we'll put in the extra loose forward, go 8, and try and survive. And you put the strongest scrummages on.
Yeah.
You know, the hybrid comes on, plays a bit of both. And, you know, it's the exact same job he had to do last week. You know, we lose a lock and then he does forward stuff and he plays in the back line, you know, when he needs to.
Shimmy, a quick, so that's like, you know, 25 minutes into the game. We've made 4 substitutions already.
Yeah.
And it was because of the
Line-out corner,
situation.
stronger
Yeah.
prop.
And the scrummaging and one
BJ
less
Dixon
player.
was the collateral damage for it. The big centre that can take it up and cover loose.
What we didn't have was we didn't have the luxury of a more recognised hooker on the bench.
Yeah.
And we had a very inexperienced hooker that then played 80 minutes.
Yeah.
How did he go, Johan Grobelaar? Because again, now you're very inexperienced.
Yeah.
You're playing 80. You're scrumming mostly with 7 in the scrum, and he's not renowned to be in, you know, from what I hear from you guys, renowned to be the best of scrummers because he's just more of a mobile hooker.
Yeah, look, we can't. You know, the Bulls had the best scrum in URC last year. He was the hooker. He's thrown into Rowan Nokia probably about 1,000 times.
Yeah.
So there is a bit of familiarity. In terms of scrumming, it also depends on the props you got.
Yeah.
So with him, and it was the
Bulls front row.
Bulls front row. So he would have been felt safe and known what's going on there. The tricky thing is when you got a loose head running in so much and you can't get the hit because you're a man down, it does make it difficult to try get that scrum. So towards the end, when we got that scrum penalty towards the end, then it worked. Yeah. So exactly, Zach. I thought Zach does well. Yeah, he's nice and square. He's working that right shoulder down into the neck. Is it officiating there?
But I mean,
look at that angle. Is that spine and line?
That comes like that.
Is that's not spine and line?
you know,
So
that's straight.
no, that's straight.
And then you see boom.
Yeah, and look where the scrum ends up. Look what happens here. So ready, turns. His backside is facing the change room.
Yeah.
That's not allowed. Did you earn the turn? Did he scrum it? No. He walked around.
He walked around.
And all you need is they tight at the other side just to slightly pull a bit. So he jackknives again and he goes
But
around
also
the corner.
from a refereeing perspective, that's an easy trigger. That's one of your main triggers that you look at.
Look at the backside. Look where the arse is going to face at the end of the scrum.
This one on our ball.
I think this one was a bit...
No, it's the same one. I think Volku just decides to go for the hole quite early. He can feel the turn coming there.
But his knee on the ground there. The loose head's got his knee on the ground.
Yeah.
That's a penalty for South Africa. You turn and your knee is on the ground. You can't scrum with your knee on the ground. You have to keep it up. So what's happening there, if you look at it, I mean, Don will look at that and say, did the Springboks get the hit? I remember I was there in Genoa 2 years ago. We played them in Italy and I spoke to Seb Negri after the game. And he said he couldn't, he said at flank he could feel the power of the Springbok hit. He literally said at loose forward he could feel. He
was
said
going back.
And they couldn't handle it, you know. I thought our hit probably could have been a lot better.
Yeah.
And then we almost let them in the fight because of that. So that's more of a fair fight, I would say, in terms of a scrum.
Yeah, there was
a
more
fight,
of a, and you saw the loose head there being, spine more straight, going straight rather than going
From
around
our
the corner.
point of view, our hit can be a lot better. That's where we're dangerous, once we generate power with that hit.
Because again, with the view on this weekend, scrummaging will be a key part of that as well.
Yeah, remember, Jean, also, if you look at, if you're in the Italian camp and you're playing the Springboks, I can guarantee you they're working harder on scrums than they have the whole week.
Yeah.
Purely because you understand what's coming. Again, that's where Grobbies can see how he pops up there. He needs to keep his shoulders a little bit lower.
So
to get that hit,
from,
he's attacking
from
that
the
hooker.
start.
Yeah.
I think your point of the hit's a good one.
Yeah, the hit there. So look, we're not shaking them on the hit. See,
Yeah,
there, it's a
very
passive hit.
passive
You know what I
hit.
mean? And look at Wilco's first step. So if you go back, Jean, sorry, I don't want to spend the whole show on the scrum, but I'll just show you one.
No, I mean we've missed your
man. Come.
Look.
I mean, actually, Rita was really good with the scrum.
Exactly, it's phenomenal.
I'm just saying.
Look where Wilco's his first step is here. He's meant to be going forward. So hit and readjust backwards. See,
Backwards.
Yeah.
you know, you meant to be going forward there. Once Wilco's square and he's going forward a bit, he's impossible to stop. The hooker gets under Grobbies there, and that's the end result. And the tight head also gets underneath him a bit.
Because they don't like that. They don't like... Because that's also when Boan Vente came back onto the field with Gerard Steenekamp for the mouth guard trigger. They had to go off, which was another debacle.
Look, with scrums, I can guarantee you this weekend, there's going to be tricks from the Irish team in terms of their scrumming, especially if Porter starts at loose head.
Yeah.
We're going to come back here on Monday and we're going to say, look at the scrum. I told you so. The backside is going to be turned, same as the British and Irish Lions. There's going to be tricks where they'll pre-engage. There's going to be a lot of tricks this weekend. Just expect it.
Paddy McCarthy was good though for Ireland.
Yeah.
It
depends who plays, But I mean, we saw it in the URC final also. So there's going to be a lot of tricks there in terms of scrums.
I'd love to see our conversion rate this year from taking scrums from penalties there and the amount of points we've been able to score. Because again, when the time is right, we see, again, only 6 forwards in the scrum. Plus your 2 centres.
There's a lot of centres there's a lot of centres on this park at the moment. But like
dominance on the tight edge side, and then
played with the wheel.
Break.
Our 22 conversion rate's been so strong on this end of year 2. Like it was our weakness in the beginning of
Eden Park, post Eden Park.
So those 2 test matches, they were, Eden Park, Wellington, 22 entries. And we used 5 or 6 of them. Since then, we've been exceptional, and like main catalyst has been our maul, but also, that is putting the dagger in, having scrums in the 22, and then having that scrum dominance.
Guys, threats for us this weekend. So we see a pretty basic play from Italy, but now here starting to attack those inside channels. Even if I just want to go back a little bit, So look at
trying to sweep down the short side for the rush.
So even that runner going short, being able to potentially block that guy, and then with the hope that this guy can get on here with the inside runner. So the first phase they go through, but then they sweep again. And we are a little bit exposed.
We see that pattern. We'll see it from Ireland a lot. And we got exposed a couple of years ago in July by last year goal line dropouts. They scored twice against us with a similar type of move, a little bit more subtlety, where they almost have like a little swap on the inside. But it's the best.
It's a Brumby or it's a drift and with the short ball.
Yes. With like a centre swap. That is this Capuzzo.
That's great timing.
Just calling it, and we see him float around, trailing. It's so hard to pick him up because look where he's coming from. He's coming from the open side, running in. Morne van der Berg wants to put pressure on the ball carrier, which is right. The short runner obviously gets the attention of RG Snyman. In our ideal world, we've said it a bit earlier, so we got a 1, 2, and 3 a bit more defined, so you can actually have time. But the ball beats the set. And then if you've got pace like this, and there's a dog leg, and this is what you'll find with the rush all the time, is there's soft balls on the inside because your third player has got more time to get out. And then you've just got no time to run that. The fact that he runs it away from our adjusting defense,
that's what makes it so difficult.
If he just runs straight, RG now and picks him off. But that line is spectacular.
And just the speed difference between Van der Berg and RG Snyman in terms of the press, and also these bodies, these bodies just standing in the way.
You can't see.
If you remember, what happens generally is the outside defenders stay switched on. The inside defenders can switch off sometimes. And they're not hunting up. So as long as you're the inside defender, sometimes you think there's going to be a tackle on the outside, you have to fold. Whereas you actually got to stay alive on the inside and come up in a straight line. So you cut out all the inside options.
And it's Gabisi that takes the ball. And also what's clever is he doesn't go to the line. He lets Morne van der Berg, that gap gets bigger by standing still. Letting him come to you so that vacuum does get created. Often there you want to go to the line and then you get picked off.
Remember the Roff line? Remember it would always be the slow prop or whatever, and he almost turns his shoulders, thinking he's getting ready to fold. Lockham would straighten up, short ball straight down the inside, right through the middle. So it's just the inside defenders. It's almost a mental switch on.
Just being switched on.
Yeah, just being switched on. The ball's gone past, look up, what's inside between me and the ball carrier, come up straight square, there's no threat, then you go around.
And the Boks would have picked that up because they played exactly the same way against the Wallabies. And that was predominantly, I think, to get rid of their breakdown threat. McWright had double the amount of turnovers than any other player in World Rugby, this international rugby. And they dipped down the blind and had massive success with that. So, if you're Ireland and you think Gibson Park, how successful he is at picking up players, not only on the short one, but that white ball off to James Lowe, they seem to have like a synergy on the weekend again. It was either that or through his foot.
It wasn't all bad on the weekend. There was still a lot of good for the Boks as well. Yes, the officiating was bad, but the Boks found a way. At one stage, we thought, how the hell would they get the win? But at the end, they scored a couple of tries as well. We've already seen the Mone van der Berg try. Now, the one thing, and I think this is the big threat for the Boks and with the hybrid player, Shimmy, is that once you start putting a single digit on a player that's used to wearing double digits, now suddenly you can't pass anymore. Again, great opportunity created here by the Boks. This should have been a try, and this could have been costly had we not, scored again after this. Again, the kicking game. This time around, it's Ethan Hooker getting it back. Moody to Estazer, the hybrid. Williams with a pace. Is it a bad pass or just a bad catch?
I think the pass could have been better. I think you're harsh. You're harsh on the flankers here with the single digits. Look, I mean, if the pass was in front, Grant runs onto it, he doesn't have to check himself.
Yeah.
Because the ball's just behind him, he's got to bounce, he's got to jump to slow himself down, and it's on his right shoulder. I think Grant still will be disappointed that he didn't take it.
Yeah.
Sometimes that ball comes and you can actually just stick up the one hand. I think that's almost easier
Yeah, than having to turn your whole body.
than having to jump and turn your whole body. Look, I mean, Andre will also go, like, I just should make a better pass.
They should have. But this was a critical try.
Could have kicked that also through. Grant would have won the foot race.
Yeah.
This one just before half time.
Yeah, I mean, how's this for Kerry? You get support from Sia. You can't underestimate that. You get the outside, there's Bowen Fenter who's latched on his outside. But you still, as a ball carrier there, you've got to dominate your first point of contact, and then you've got to be able to hold your feet and drive, because so often you just topple over there.
Yeah, it's people underestimate the contact support.
Yeah.
Once you touch someone, that's when the fight starts, and then you got to get in there and drive them as long as possible. It's his job to get down.
And
you can't do that.
if you're a defender there and you see, those two latches on, you chop legs there, or you do that where you throw him over you, like a judo throw, but you've got to get him on the deck, because as soon as you 1 versus 3, you're losing that contest, and from the Italy perspective.
This is actually the last try, the Ethan Hooker try. Game was already gone here. Solid scrum again in the outside channel. Mani with a
So
nice
flat
little
there.
kick.
Let's quickly just talk
So
about
flat.
Let's quickly. I mean, obviously Kwacha Smith, we've got to mention. We didn't see him off the bench. How's the energy he brought on?
Yeah.
How's
So
that
what a
tackle
good
he
carry.
put in before that scrum?
But how flat is that?
Yeah.
And he almost has a little look inside, and then checks himself and gets a kick away. And I guess if you want to see the difference between, say, like a Andre Pollard, who was exceptional at game management, the drop goal. I mean, let's talk about the drop goal. It's back.
Ford,
You pick older fly-offs, George Ford and Henry Pollard, and you get the drop goal. But
Everyone is old nowadays.
But Henry would have been deeper there.
Probably he normally sits a little bit
Sits
more
a little
there.
bit in there. I mean,
Not such a big attacking threat.
he's got the ability. So those forwards are coming across there. They're willing carriers.
Yeah.
He scoots out in front. The old
incredible.
magic. But then from that, to do that is next level.
Also the skills from Hooker to catch it like that, almost, Aussie rule style above the head, still, evade and make and get the try.
Because you're not used to seeing skills from hookers. And this one, what a beauty of a try.
Yeah, this was my favorite one. The hybrid, he can still pass John. How's this little goose zip? And then how does he find him in between 4 players?
4 defenders.
So if you look at the angles just off the back of it, and we know Grant's so quick, and you're going to look out for him. But there's 4...
Take all those bodies.
There's 4 bodies behind. And you think, they've got this sussed out. And the pass that time's right in front of him. And this is the quickest we've got in the Springbok jerseys.
Just magic. With him, you got an extra... The thing is, when you got to scrum off that quick with tiring defenders, and he's got the ability to still run a bit and still get that ball out wide. So as soon as there's one slip or a dog leg, he's gone. Yeah. That's it. He's incredibly explosive off the mark.
No, he's phenomenal. You look at all the guys that came onto the field early on, all the substitutions that we had to make within the first 25 minutes, and then they kind of panned to the bench at one stage, and the last 3 left was Kwacha, Mani, and Grant.
Right.
High impact
players, and they did exactly that. So some guys who's part of the bomb squad had a different role to fulfill, But again, the way that they did it collectively was.
I think we've got to touch on the bench we selected for
Strong
that
bench.
weekend. So you looked at the game, you think, okay, we've made so many changes. This might be pretty tricky, and it might be close to a certain point until that bench comes. Obviously, the bench was forced to come in on 20 minutes. But we didn't even select a hooker on the bench. You know, we had Marco van Staden covering hooker, and then you go, two props, and then you go Erge Snyman, Kwagga Smith, Andre Esterhuizen, Grant Williams, Mani Lubbock, and you go like, if we have to chase a game down here, these guys can chase down any game.
Yeah, I suppose. Sorry, Jean. The sad thing is that the BJ Dixons, the Zach Porthams, the Boan Fenters. You got to feel for those guys. I mean,
even Franco Mostert.
Yeah, you go on tour. Franco hasn't. Yeah. Franco played, I think, Japan.
he
He played blindside, flank. But outside of that, he hadn't played a lot. So the impact, we go again. The impact of that red card, the ripple effect. In terms of trying to develop the squad. Zach would have got another test in Italy away. Played probably a good 60 minutes. Sia had to be taken off early again because of that. Again, so it has a ripple effect. And you look at, and Rassi made a good point about making the changes. France, you kick off at 9, you travel the next day. You want to freshen up the squad. Also, you got to give these guys a chance. Some of these guys, it's probably the only chance they'll get on tour. Because of a silly decision, what happens?
Might get a shout in the
Wales
game.
yeah.
Just for me quickly, so spectators, we've been robbed of proper competition the last 2 weeks because you go at red card, you go into management, like we see, you bring in a lot of substitutions, you wait for the opposition to get a yellow card and then you come alive. We weren't in favour of it, but when we got the 20-minute red card, we were celebrating to a point that, okay, we're not happy with the red cards getting given out, but 20 minutes is the best of a bad scenario.
It'll still remain a contest.
So when the red card was introduced for foul play, the permanent red card, we were, okay, if you kick, do something stupid, shoulder charge,
punch in the face, kick.
If there's any doubt, okay, it's got to go to the bunker.
Yeah, I agree.
And I want to just return to that for this weekend, please. I mean, I don't agree with the yellow cards and the players being guilty. I mean, I still think rugby's got to be tougher than that. But if that's what we've got presently,
the best of the worst. Yeah.
Just interpret it properly, the way it's meant to be interpreted.
Yeah, and the knock-on effect, Scala, we always chirp soccer players in terms of falling down. Rugby's going that way already.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
You saw that charge down, I think it was Menincello, that ran into Wilco, one of our players, and he's lying down there. Every time a guy gets touched on the chin, he's pointing. Nick White. It started. No, it's
still recovering.
It's turning. Animation is creeping into a game, and that.
You don't want that.
It's not rugby. It's never been about that. It's fun. Listen, you put a big hit on me, you put your hand up and you say, "Well done, you got me there." You know what I mean?
Let rugby remain rugby, and all those things that made rugby such a beautiful game. Let's bring that back. A little bit old school. But that's why it is such a lovely game. Our We Buy moment of the week. Yes, Shami. Who do you give that to?
Goose step. Kane Moody.
Yeah, I've got to go Goose and cross. I mean, special mention to Mani's cross kick, so flat. Yeah. But yeah, for me, it's the Goose.
I like
of
the Goose
Kane
step. I love that.
And
Individual
and
brilliance.
And the pass to Granty.
I can imagine school kids trying to do that, saying, trying to playing touch rugby on a Sunday and trying to goose step around the outside.
In Paul.
And
Let's okay.
Kane and Grant.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. We used to see Kanan only as a winger. Now we see him as an outside centre on the wing. Little goosey. Still got it, John.
I like him at 13. That combination was nice this week. I'm very happy to go with that try as our We Buy moment of the week. I was kind of thinking, should we get it to the officials? But then we decided
what is this? Was it a walkie show?
I'll
be serious.
Our Ireland preview.
Okay.
What can we expect on the weekend? Ireland, they were
Confident
impressive.
Ireland.
They were impressive against Australia. The first 2 weeks, a little bit clumsy, no real synergy. This time around, far, far better performance.
I think something that's underestimated about them is their physicality. You watch that game in Durban, go watch that back last year. I mean, half the Springbok team was left in pieces after that.
They do up it against us, yeah.
So their breakdown work's exceptional, but then also on attack, they're renowned for a bit of rhythm.
Yeah.
But against us, they'll dip down the blind. A lot of smart little inside ball players. So I think we'll outlast them over 80. That's my gut feel from a physicality point of view. But you can't underestimate that. And then they start fast. They're the fastest starters in the world, and that's big for them. If they get a head start and the Boks have got to chase them down, we can do it in South Africa. I doubt we can do it away from home. So for the Boks, quite clearly our discipline, rightly or wrongly,
Yep.
we haven't started fast so far yet. So we've got to have a big start in us this
I mean,
weekend.
if we go down to 14 against them,
Yeah.
will we be able to last that game then?
We can look, I mean, even that Durban game, they started off fast and we caught up. And then
Yeah.
there was that magic, I think the 2 drop kicks right at the end.
Yes, right at the end.
Physicality is there, but for me, you look at when Leinster have gone down to the French teams or to France, it's always been the power game. That it's the ability, yes, they'll have their moments, you know, they'll have their pockets of power or of play, but whether they can maintain that intensity over 80 minutes, for me, is going to be the big question. How we select the makeup of the bench is going to be crucial, because I think it will go down to the last 20, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But then it's going to, do Ireland, can they play a different game? Can they win the aerial battle like we do? Are they an all-court game team like us in terms of playing? Because it's very ruck-based, very tight, out wide. But I think we've got a bit more than them. We've got a bit more rhythm than them, even though they beat Australia this weekend. But the trickery is coming from the Irish.
Yeah, and they are a bogey team.
Yeah.
For the last
2012.
for the last 2 decades, they have been our bogey
Yeah,
team.
we haven't won in Dublin since
Yeah,
2012.
since 2012.
I think, I mean, this is the biggest challenge for us defensively, and we need one of those shutout Bok defensive efforts to really, apply the pressure, because we've been so good on attack.
Don't give them rhythm.
Don't give them
The
rhythm.
breakdown. You slow down the breakdown speed, you can get numbers, you can come up. That's why the tackler,
Yeah.
tackle tank, get up, disrupt that breakdown, you can come up and make the hits. That's going to be important.
From Freddie, our producer, we will review the other games on Boks Unpacked later this week on Friday. But quickly, reaction to England's record-breaking comeback win
It's coming
against the All Blacks. Here we go. Here's his words.
It's coming
They
home.
look like a very serious team at the moment.
It's coming
Settle
home.
down, Freddie.
Settle down.
I mean, congratulations.
Yes.
I mean, but like with Freddie, like I've got my neighbour in St Albans, old neighbour, messaging me like, "What a pity, gutted we're not playing the Boks this November." Just hold on, it's happening next year in South Africa. I mean, well done to England. They played well, 12-0 down, and then they scored how many? 38.
Yeah, I know they were.
Well, look, the worrying thing is not England, it's New Zealand. That's the big worry, because they're coming here obviously for the long tour. But we will gladly welcome England to the region.
Yes, we will. Quick comments on Pumas coming back from 21-0
game.
down. Great second half.
Great
Not
second
great
half.
game,
Yeah,
great
great
second
second
half.
half.
They got a yellow card early on, and then they were just too lateral in that first half. Scotland looked like they had it in the back. Santi Carreras comes on at fly off.
And changes around flat.
Totally.
How does he take it to the line? And how has he got the ability? Like they do that little sweep and they've got that 2 little bailouts off the back of him. But how does he do the double pump on the line, pops it off? Their wingers, Isgro and Carreras was...
Also, just Gajo, the prop that came on, was carrying.
They had a decent-
Argentina need a tight 5. That's the thing. You know, you go back, Argentina always... Look, they've always had good forwards, a good a tight 5 that will scram you. If you had to put that into this Argentinian team, everyone's in trouble.
Proper game.
Everyone's in
Because they're
trouble.
good in the air, they've got good counter-attack, they've got that sixth sense.
Wales, first win in Cardiff.
Slow clap.
2.5.
Yeah, well done. I thought they were.
one clap.
I thought they were fortunate. Again,
Japan,
a tackle area, again a penalty.
Eddie would have been fuming post.
Japan had it in the bag pretty much, and then let it slip.
But,
Wales have got an angry All Black team coming to town and a
and then the
Springbok team.
Springboks.
So it's a good thing they won.
Outside the test window.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting
Yeah.
weekend.
Okay, guys, it's called The Verdict.
If you put this into... I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10 is
Yeah.
a good score.
Yeah, I'm so happy with it. Yeah.
8 out of
It was
10.
shaky at one stage. I mean, you look at the score there before we scored, just before half-time. It was tight. BC missed a couple of penalties. I was thinking, wow.
Yeah.
You know, things aren't... they just beaten Australia the week before. So if you put into context with the red card, with all the subs, the inexperience, I'd go 8 out of 10.
If you look at the joy and how the guys celebrated, after that victory, it shows that they had doubt at times as well, and I think
They're going to be angry.
Yeah. Historically, I think we lose that 9 out of 10 times.
But, I mean, it's also a show of frustration
Yep.
of how the game was
Yeah.
going. And we've all been involved in those games where everything goes, every 50-50 goes against you. You play with less numbers on the field. And, you have to fight. You've got to find a way. And we've said it multiple times. The Springbok side finds a way.
8 out of 10 for that 32 points to 17 victory. Last comments, guys?
Can't wait for the...
It's going to be a cracker.
Ireland's going to be good.
The success of our 2025 season depends
Yeah,
on the
you've been
result.
quite consistent with that comment.
I have, because that is what I believe. They are a bogey team. Thanks so much, guys. It's so nice to have you guys back here.
Sean, and congratulations on your intro, man. That
Thank
was
you.
exceptional.
Nicky told me he wants to host the show.
Does he?
Yeah.
Okay. He can start his own show. Well, that's sadly all we've got time for this week's episode of The Verdict. But we will be back both on YouTube and on SuperSport on Friday with Boks Unpacked. If you've got questions for us for the Boks Unpacked that will be going live on Friday, leave the comments here and then we can answer some of those questions for you. It's going to be a cracker of a weekend big game, the 2 teams in green. But that is it from us. It's going to be a big weekend and we'll see you on Friday with Boks Unpacked.